thefts are as mysterious as they are fascinating. They blend the intrigue of criminal masterminds with the allure of priceless treasures. And today, we dive into one of the most tantalizing mysteries in art history, Picasso's missing Cubist masterpiece, Pigeon with Peas. Welcome back to Chilleo V. I'm Chris Cano, known to many as Chilleo in the remote viewing community. In this video, we'll explore an incredible group remote viewing session focused on uncovering the story of this missing masterpiece. 4 talented viewers, Cody, Claudia, Michael, and John, were tasked to probe into this mystery, and today we reveal their findings. The year was 2010. In the quiet hours of May 20th, a thief slipped into le Musée d'Art Moderne de Paris, bypassing security systems, and carefully removed Pigeon with Peas from its frame. It was an act as precise as it was audacious. Worth over 23 million euros, this Cubist masterpiece has been missing ever since. Our target was coded FNH4FQP5. The viewers were tasked with describing not just the painting, but also the circumstances of its theft, the thief, and the painting's journey since that fateful night. Remote viewing is more than just perceiving. It's about tuning into the subtleties of the unknown. For this session, I acted as the tasker, carefully designing the target to focus the viewers on specific aspects of the mystery. Cody, Claudia, Michael, and John brought their unique styles and insights to this enigmatic case. I divided the task into subtasks, including descriptions of the painting, the heist, the thief, and what happened to the paintings. Each viewer worked blind, unaware of the target details. Let's dive into what the viewers perceived. When it comes to describing the painting itself, the viewers provided a wealth of fascinating and consistent details, some metaphorical, some literal, and some eerily precise. Cody started with something peculiar, a metallic sensation with brass colors. He sketched what looked like the corner of a painting frame and noted, "No idea what this is, but it feels metallic with brass colors." This appears to link directly to the frame of Pigeon with Peas. Beyond that, Cody captured shapes that closely matched key elements of the painting, such as the rods also sketched by Michael and the amphora-like legs depicted by Claudia, both resembling parts of Cubist artwork. Michael's session brought some astonishing insights. He wrote down Picasso portrait as an analytical overlay, an incredible hit, considering the target was a Picasso painting. He also sketched a square-patterned chessboard floor, which evokes the geometric, fragmented style characteristic of Cubism. But it didn't stop there. Michael went on to draw what he called stony blocks, resembling houses in a field. This metaphor can again be linked to the Cubist theme of breaking down reality into abstract, block-like forms. Interestingly, John also picked up on a similar pattern. He labeled the target as an artifact and sketched a series of squared stony blocks, similar to what Michael described. This repeating motif of blocky structures is compelling. It might symbolize cubism or even hint at the physical environment where the painting is now hidden. Claudia's session added another layer of depth. She immediately sensed that the target was something unique and valuable. She described it as one of a kind and expensive, even questioning whether it might be art. Claudia mentioned seeing white, yellow, and milky colors, closely matching the palette of Pigeon with Peas. She also wrote that the target felt as if it came from the 1920s, which is remarkably close, since the painting was created in 1911. Claudia continued to hone in on the artistic nature of the target. She repeatedly noted the word art and phrases like piece of art. On one page, she wrote, "It does not feel real," as if it is a painting, possibly hinting at the surreal nature of the Cubist style. She later perceived a strange bird or dragon-like figure, noting that it can fly and describing it as surreal. This could be a metaphorical reference to the pigeon in the painting's title. Toward the end of her session, Claudia picked up something remarkable. She wrote, "I see a painting in oil paint. It hangs in a museum." She then sketched an image of a framed painting, describing the frame as exquisite and gold-colored, noting that it, too, was worth a fortune. Interestingly, she also perceived coins from Spain, which could symbolize both the immense value of the painting and Picasso's Spanish origins. Taken together, these independent sessions paint a vivid and compelling narrative, from Cody's metallic frame and matching shapes, to Michael and John's recurring blocky motifs, to Claudia's detailed description of an oil painting hanging in a museum. It's incredible how much insight these viewers captured without knowing anything about the target. The viewers' descriptions of the theft were remarkably detailed and, in many cases, eerily close to the actual events. Each session provided unique perspectives, yet recurring themes emerged that seemed to align perfectly with the facts of the heist. Michael began by perceiving colors of dawn and shades, a fitting detail, since the theft took place in the early hours of the morning, just before dawn. He also noted something resembling a rolled-up yoga mat, which could be interpreted as a metaphor for the stolen paintings. Another striking element Michael picked up on was a turning wheel motion, a recurring theme across several sessions. He even described a transparent pane and used the term chipping, which is fascinating given that the thief had to chip away the paint covering 12 screws on the window frame to enter the museum. John provided another intriguing detail with his sketch of someone observing and detaching an object. This matches the methodical process the thief used, spending hours carefully removing the screws over several nights without being detected. Cody's session was filled with sensory impressions that strongly resonated with the theft. He repeatedly described a feeling of holding something with his hand, thumb pointing downward, a position that would make sense if someone were carefully unscrewing something. Cody continued to sense this action throughout his session, which is especially interesting given that the thief spent 6 consecutive nights, 2 hours per night, working on the screws while the guard was absent. Cody also sketched a circular turning motion with a hand, further reinforcing the idea of unscrewing. At one point, he mentioned the word watch, which could be interpreted as the thief's need to constantly watch for guards or perhaps a reference to time, since timing was critical in this heist. On the topic of the screws, he perceived terms like wobbly, vibration, and stuck, all of which align perfectly with the physical process of chipping paint and unscrewing parts of the window. Another interesting detail Cody provided was the perception of something rectangular with a hand on it, followed by a sense of motion, moving in and out. He later visualized a cabinet from which something was being taken and moved from point A to point B, a likely metaphor for the theft. His analytical overlay of moving house is particularly fitting, given the theme of moving a valuable object from one place to another. Cody summarized his impressions by stating that the target feels like it involves a location of something. The man-made object feels rectangular, moves in and out, storage-related. He later sensed the urge to turn that thing, which led him to an analytical overlay of a safe, drawing what looked like a safe being opened. To me, this represents the metaphorical act of opening the museum and stealing something valuable. When probing for the purpose, Cody repeatedly perceived concepts like opening and unlock. Claudia's session offered a more symbolic interpretation of the theft. She created an assessment map of her sketches that, to me, tells the entire story of the heist. Her map starts with the arrival of a vessel, depicted as a boat, but symbolizing the car the thief used to reach the museum. Next, there's a depiction of a sneaky animal representing the thief. In section 2, she drew coins, symbolizing valuables and art, indicating the target was related to a museum. Section 3 shows a painting, followed by a bird, possibly representing both the Picasso painting and the idea of the artwork flying away. Lastly, she sketched a passage or doorway, symbolizing the thief's escape route. This symbolic narrative is incredibly detailed and accurate, offering a complete story arc of the theft. Claudia also captured the essence of the operation by writing, "It's a secret, illegal mission, and it is now time to make a move." Phrases that perfectly reflect the mindset and actions of the thief during those crucial moments. Together, these sessions provide a layered, insightful view of the theft. From Michael's dawn imagery and chipping pain to Cody's sense of unscrewing and Claudia's symbolic map, the viewer's impressions collectively reconstruct the events of that fateful night in a way that feels both vivid and astonishingly accurate. The viewer's descriptions of the thief revealed a strikingly accurate and detailed psychological profile, capturing not only his actions but also his ambitions, mindset, and personality. Michael began by perceiving that it feels like a puzzle, which to me reflects the way the thief, Viran Tomic, approached the heist, with meticulous planning, as though piecing together a complex puzzle. Michael also noted the idea of organic growth, which I interpret as a metaphor for what the thief had in mind, pulling off this one big job to fund a new life. Tomic's ambition was to retire, buy a boat, and sail away. A dream of personal growth and freedom after the heist. Claudia's session highlighted a strong masculine energy linked to the person behind the crime. She sketched golden coins and referenced the cartoon character Scrooge McDuck, a symbol of wealth and shady dealings. This likely reflects how the thief envisioned his future, rich and carefree, surrounded by gold and luxury. Claudia also provided an emotional profile of the thief, describing him as a man who felt disappointed in life, wishing for something better. She described him as artistic, intelligent, even a genius, but rejected and lonely. This matches Viran Tomic's real-life story, an art lover with a deep knowledge of the field, yet someone who felt like an outsider. For those curious to learn more, I highly recommend watching the documentary about Tomic and his audacious heist on Netflix. Cody's perceptions brought another fascinating angle. He described the thief as clever and in design mode while planning the heist, perfectly capturing the calculated approach Tomic used. Interestingly, Cody also picked up the word creatine, which may seem random at first, but it's worth noting that Tomic was known to be a heavy workout enthusiast with a muscular build. This odd yet accurate detail adds another layer of validation to the session. Cody also perceived the idea of a fresh start, reflecting the thief's desire to begin a new life after completing the heist. Furthermore, he described the thief as carefully observing the location and making his plan based on what he saw. This is precisely what Tomic did, spending weeks studying the museum's layout, pretending to be a homeless person near the site, watching the guards, and meticulously observing every detail to create the perfect plan. Altogether, these sessions provide an impressive portrait of the thief, an ambitious, clever individual driven by disappointment and a longing for a better life. From Michael's perception of a puzzle-like approach and Claudia's emotional insights to Cody's detailed description of the thief's planning and physical traits, the viewers captured not just the act, but the very essence of the man behind the crime. The viewers provided rich and layered impressions of the museum, capturing not only its architectural features but also the atmosphere and emotional resonance of the space. John's session began with impressions of library, recordings, historical filing, and even a reference to the legendary Library of Alexandria. He described the museum as looking like the Pantheon, with extremely old or well-preserved structures reminiscent of Greek or Roman architecture. This aligns perfectly with the actual appearance of le Musée des Beaux-Arts de Paris, which features classical columns resembling a Greek temple. Interestingly, Claudia also mentioned Greek and Roman structures, reinforcing this shared perception of ancient grand design. John continued by describing a large structure flanked by two bigger structures resembling columns, with a more open area in the middle. This closely matches the museum's facade, with its prominent classical columns and central entrance. Cody's perceptions focused on the functional aspects of the museum. He initially sensed something storage-related, which could symbolize the museum's role as a repository for priceless artworks. One of Cody's earlier sketches, initially linked to the painting's frame, also bears a resemblance to the museum's layout, a striking detail in hindsight. Cody then provided a visual of what appeared to be the interior of a house. To me, this correlates with the interior of the museum, which has a similarly ornate and grand design. He continued with another excellent sketch of the museum's interior that closely resembles what can be seen in the official footage from the night of the theft. For those interested, this footage is featured in the Netflix documentary about the heist. Finally, Cody also sketched the exterior of the museum, again providing a detailed and accurate representation of the building. Michael added another dimension to the description by perceiving a spacious enclosure and sketching something reminiscent of museum walls lined with paintings, alongside predefined paths for visitors to walk through. This matches the layout of many galleries inside the museum, with wide halls designed for displaying large artworks. Claudia's session was filled with evocative impressions that captured the atmosphere of the museum. She perceived sun rays coming in through a window in a stone building like a museum, a perfect match, considering the thief spent much of his time observing through a window before executing the heist. She also described colors, painted things, and a sense of admiring and soul-soothing, evoking the feeling one experiences when surrounded by great works of art. She noted how sounds would echo when walking, which is characteristic of large stone buildings with high ceilings, like the museum. Claudia further elaborated on the artistic essence of the place, mentioning painted ceilings that reminded her of the Sistine Chapel and referencing Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. While the Musée des Beaux-Arts may not have ceilings as grand as the Sistine Chapel, her perception of art, beauty, and painted surfaces aligns perfectly with the interior's artistic ambiance. Taken together, the viewer's impressions create a vivid and accurate picture of le Musée des Beaux-Arts de Paris. From John's classical architecture and Cody's detailed sketches of both the interior and exterior, to Michael's sense of a spacious, art-filled enclosure and Claudia's rich descriptions of light, color, and atmosphere, the sessions beautifully captured both the physical structure and the artistic spirit of the museum. The viewers also provided intriguing insights into the location, offering clues that point toward Paris, where the museum is situated. Cody began by perceiving flat land paved and followed this up with a sketch of a courtyard. To me, this closely resembles the gardens and courtyards commonly found in Paris, particularly near museums and historic landmarks. Claudia added more context by specifying that the location was in Europe. She then attempted to draw a map, and while it's a bit of a stretch, I can see some resemblance to the winding shape of the Paris River, la Seine, which flows near le Musée des Beaux-Arts de Paris. She even marked an area labeled City not far from where the river runs, which aligns with the museum's central location in Paris. Lastly, Claudia tried to probe for numbers and came up with 632. Interestingly, the theft was officially discovered at 6:50 a.m. While it's not an exact match, the number she perceived is close enough to suggest some connection to the early morning time frame of the heist. These impressions, while varied, seem to converge toward Paris in both time and space. Cody's courtyard sketch evokes Parisian architecture. Claudia's map points toward the city's iconic river, and her numbers hint at the early morning discovery of the crime. Together, they create a compelling narrative that places us firmly in the heart of Paris during the dawn hours of that fateful day. This is, without a doubt, the most difficult part of the mystery, what ultimately happened to Pigeon with Peas and the other stolen paintings. The official story claims they were destroyed by an intermediary who panicked, but frankly, I don't buy it. None of the data from the viewers hinted at any kind of destruction. Instead, we have a collection of intriguing clues that suggest something very different. Boats appeared as a recurring theme throughout the sessions, which hints that the paintings may have been transported by water, possibly shipped off to another country. John had an especially compelling sketch of a location by the sea, showing what appeared to be a self-sufficient cluster of islands, designed with environmental or sustainable purposes in mind. He described the surroundings as having cavaco-like colors, reddish-brown, black and white, with a porous or microporous geological structure. There's also this intriguing notion of mathematical structures that could hint at a specific city or region where the paintings are now hidden. Adding to this, John sketched visuals of golden and purple-colored ribbon banners or tapestries, a recurring theme that Cody and Claudia also picked up on. Cody described a purplish-pink exterior with a beautiful landscape, and the color purple seemed to dominate his perceptions. This detail might be an important clue, a signature of the place where the paintings are currently stored. Cody also sensed a strong feeling of something being found or finding, which contradicts the idea of destruction. This implies that the paintings are still intact and may be discovered someday. Toward the end of his session, Cody provided a final summary, stating, "The target seems to involve some kind of decision and search involving two or more options. There is an element of safe or safety. There is also a man-made structure with a red-pink exterior. This reinforces the idea that the paintings are hidden somewhere safe, in a carefully chosen location." So, what can we deduct from all this? Honestly, not much. This was our first project, more of a trial run, and most of the viewers only did one session. We didn't go deep enough to push for clearer answers. But if I had to summarize, I'd say this. The paintings likely left France by boat and ended up in a remote, self-sustaining place where purple, pink, and red tones dominate the surroundings. Perhaps they're being stored or even displayed in the private collection of a wealthy individual, far from public view. And based on Cody's sense of finding, I believe they haven't disappeared forever. Someday, they might resurface, just waiting to be found again. This brings us to the end of our exploration of this fascinating target. This first project was a fascinating dive into a complex and unsolved mystery. While we didn't reach a definitive conclusion, the viewers' sessions provided valuable clues and compelling narratives about the painting, the heists, and the possible fate of the stolen masterpiece. Each viewer brought a unique perspective, contributing to an overall picture that was both intriguing and thought-provoking. One thing is clear, there's more to this story. Whether it's hidden in a private collection or lying in wait to be rediscovered, this target remains open-ended, with plenty of room for further exploration. With more tasking and deeper analysis, who knows what other insights we might uncover. This mystery reminds us that some puzzles remain unsolved, not because they lack answers, but because they invite us to keep asking questions. Whether or not we ever find Pigeon with Peas and the other paintings, the journey of probing into the unknown and exploring the hidden layers of reality is what makes remote viewing so captivating. Thank you to Cody, Claudia, Michael and John for their outstanding work, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other content and visit my website myrvtoolbox.com to dive deeper into remote viewing and uncover more intriguing mysteries. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more projects like this, with retasks, deeper dives, and a continued exploration of the unseen. Until next time, keep exploring the unseen and uncovering the unknown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. See you in the next mystery.